Felicitations, adventures. I'm Taylor Felicity, and welcome to Incredibly Indie, where we showcase TTRPGs you've probably never heard of. I'm playing Spindlewheel by Sasha Reneau with Basil, Jellyfish, and Okami. I haven't done an icebreaker question in a while, but I decided for the stream it would be fun to do one. So our icebreaker question for the stream is, everyone, tell me about your favorite tarot decks when you do your intros. And we're going to start with Basil.
Hi everyone, I'm Basil. My pronouns are he, they, z. And my favorite tarot deck is the only tarot deck I own, the Tarot Deck of the Divine by Yoshitane.
Good pick. Very cool. Jellyfish, how about you?
Hi, I'm Jellyfish Lines. I'm a little gay guy on the internet and in real life. You can sometimes find me in Ohio. And my favorite tarot deck is the Outdoors Oracle, but I don't have it right now. I lost it years ago. So my next favorite one is the Literary Tarot, which honestly, if you make the Great Gatsby card look like this, you've won my heart.
Very good. And then Okami, what about you?
Hello everyone. I am Okami. Pronouns he, they. And my favorite tarot deck currently is the Sephiroth Tarot, which is amazing. Like, it was originally associated with a board game. It has a TTRPG now called The Hidden Isle, and it's everything. It's like the gamer's tarot deck. I love it.
And then people who watch my streams are probably already know this, but one of my favorite tarot decks that I have is the Neopets tarot deck that my friend Melanie got me. Melanie's been on the stream many times. Let me see. Look at these cards. Look at this. Look at this. The Gray Fairy. Are you kidding me? And it has a really good guidebook. So I really love this deck. It's very nostalgic. And the guidebook is like wild, like weirdly very well written. Like you would think that like, oh, it's just Neopets or whatever, but it's like very in depth, and they talk about like this is who like this character is and this is what they symbolize. So it's a fun one. I really like it a lot. But for this game, we are not actually using tarot. Spindlewheel is a tarot-like game that has its own bespoke deck of cards. So during our session 0, we built the world together, and we also started working on our characters in between the session 0 and today. There are some different ways to play Spindlewheel, and there are some different games that use the Spindlewheel deck, but today we are playing Spindlewheel Festival, is one of the modes that you can play in. This means we'll have a set of scenes that we'll be going through, and we'll be drawing, playing, and interpreting cards to see where the story takes us. We're also playing this GMless, so you can GM Spindlewheel, but Festival is recommended for if you want to play a GMless game. We are also using the Tide Rack expansion by Takuma Okada. From its description, it draws from the beach, a place full of life and constant change, where dead things come to rest and lost things can be found again. Tide Rack is a deck about memories of the beach, but it's also about being trans, being an immigrant, and struggling to find a place to belong. Use it in your play to bring the ocean, liminal spaces, and transition into your story. You can get this game on itch or Roll20 by following the link in chat. That should be going now. So there's one link for Roll20 and then another link for itch. Good, my bot is working. So you can click either of the links to get this game. We actually are using Roll20, which has like a very cool, has like a whole setup and everything, and has the decks already put in. If you get it on itch, you can get the physical game, and then you can also use playingcards.io to play this. There's a link for that with the itch. So you can play this a lot of different ways, in person, online. It's very cool. Before we get started with the actual game, there are some things that if you are watching, you can do to help out the stream. First of all, if there is a moment that you think would make a good clip, but you don't have time to make that clip, or you don't want to miss anything, you can type an exclamation point followed by the word marker in chat, or also just hey, exclamation point, hey. Either of those will make a marker for me to go back and make a clip of that moment, which is super helpful because then I can use it for short form content. There's also a couple of channel point redemptions that can do some stuff on the overlay. I'll do one of them now. You can make a little lighthouse appear on the overlay. Except for that, it didn't do it. So I may need to fiddle with that. If I look distracted, that's what I'm doing. Seeing what's wrong. Why isn't it on here? But there's some different things that you can do like that. You can also tip us. $2 lets a player of your choice choose a card from the deck. $5 lets any of us choose lets each of us choose a card from the deck. Or for $10, we will pull an arbiter card, which is kind of the world cards, and you can help us interpret it. And you can tip on Ko-fi, or you can use Twitch bits. Either one works. The last thing you can do to help out the stream, congratulations, you're already doing it. Whether you're watching us right now live on Twitch or watching the YouTube VOD later, we appreciate you being here and hope you enjoy what you're about to see. I should also say, I almost forgot, Mila canonically first in chat. I always have to do that, and when I do TTRPG stuff, I always almost forget to acknowledge that redeem. But I got it in there this time. So, with that, the sea sparkles in anticipation. It's Memorial Day weekend, and the first tourists of the season overflow from the ferry and flood Penduff Island, dragging commotion and cash to shore in equal measure. Penduff, a small island off the coast of the Carolinas, lies in wait, with trinkets and treasures scattered across gift shops and curiosity shops like shells on the beach. This is the world that we're living in today. And, Jellyfish, you agreed to go first, or offered to go first. So which of these card prompts do you want to start off with from the festival pattern?
Well, let me zoom in and go to the right place. I say because I cannot read very well.
And actually, while you're doing that, let me do this so the people in chat can see what you're reading.
All right, so my character is Connor, pronouns he, him. Their core is Stone Soup, and their crossing is Chasm, and I have chosen to interpret that as they are, a strong, like, stable force in their community. They're a big softy on the inside, but they're also kind of empty on the inside. They're just, like, sad. They're trying to find something to, like fill a void. Connor's boon is Leviathan, which is a mindless hunger, a tireless machine, crude oil, or burning in the seawater. So I feel like he has access to the tunnel. Like, he knows about the tunnel, he knows how to get in, he knows how to get out. There's an underground tunnel that's tied to a desalinization machine, I believe we had said. And because he's secretly a sea creature. He's among these kind of secret merfolk that have been living on the island for generations. And his bane is a glass lens, which is a misdiagnosis, lack of directions, or paralysis of choice. So even though he has access to this sort of underground tunnel and this, like, strange machine that, like, the sea folk that secretly inhabit this island have access to, he doesn't really know what to do with it. It's like a lot of, like, responsibility, and so he's kind of paralyzed as to whether he's, like, at a crossroads. Am I a villain? Am I a hero? What do those words even mean? Like, am I supposed to get revenge on the land dwellers for stealing people's names and poisoning the environment, or am I supposed to use this to, like, benefit the people that live here, or somewhere in between? Maybe it's just the tourists I have a problem with. So, like, he's paralyzed. So even though he has, like, this access, he's not doing anything with it because he just doesn't know. His method is blizzard. The blizzard is a cutting white cold in the wind, snow smothering the world of quiet. I kind of see that as, like, he's kind of cold. kind of, but also like cool, like I'm choosing to interpret it as like a cool operator. He gets it through just like being polite and not stirring the pot too much, and that's how he kind of gets by. Um, but it's like what anger he has is like a cold anger, right? Like a biting cold anger that comes out every now and then, but it's not fiery or hot, which will be a roleplay challenge for me. Um, and then his desire is scholar, which is like record keeper, documentation, insatiably critical and curious. I think he's like probably romantically involved with like multiple people that are part of that like society, people in the historical society. Like he's kind of like playing all sides there because he wants to know as much as possible about the history of this place, you know, what has happened in the past because like he's paralyzed. So he's like, well, if I accumulate enough knowledge, and the way he's done that is he just sort of like has cultivated all these ties with the island historical society to try and like get access to like records and things. Um yeah, and that's my character. That's Connor. Um and I think the thing that's like a little unique about Connor as opposed to the other mermaids is I would like Connor to be like a Selkie. Like he's like the descendant of Irish immigrants that settled on the island, like when the Irish first came, across the Atlantic during the potato famine, and instead of, going to New York or whatnot, his family came here and stayed, and he's like a descendant of those people. Um,
Very cool. Okami, I don't I don't want to call you out. You
am I in
played in
trouble?
an No, you're not in trouble. You played in a mermaid H2O just add water campaign, right?
Yes, I did. Yes, I
Is this the
did.
same character or a character that's similar to
This the
that?
same. It's the same
Okay.
name.
I thought because I didn't watch the whole series, but I watched like several episodes, and I was like, "This is reminding me." So okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, no, it's on purpose. Connor is kind of like my signature theme. I've like had Connor show up in a couple of games.
Oh,
Uh,
cool. That's awesome.
I really like Selkies. They're my favorite kind of mermaid.
I love
Uh,
Selkies as well. Awesome. Do you want to flip over your fate cards now?
I would, and I'll make it quick-ish. Okay, so Atropos is the final card. Okay, hold on.
Yes, I would start with
Okay, so Clothos.
Clotho yeah,
Clothos, how you
Clotho.
begin.
hmm
Clotho. All right, how do I flip it? Okay.
If you, I'll flip it for you actually. If you
Oh, got
side
it,
click
got it,
on the
got it.
card and then choose flip, it'll flip it over.
Okay. Fiddler's Rosin, an artist's tool to sweeten and empower clarity and strength through fiction. Huh. Um, I think this started when I was gifted like an old violin that had been recovered from a shipwreck, and that is like what my name is. Because we had kind of established that like all the mermaids that
Oh yeah.
around here, all of their names are like items because you can't really like it's how they communicate, it's how they like
hmm
exchange names because you can't really like speak underwater. Um, so I think he got this old fiddle had been rescued from the shipwreck, and when he after it had been like fixed, when he played it, then all his memories came to him.
Ooh,
So I think
that's
that's how
rad.
this all started for my character. And
Nice.
then I click on my current fortune, La Cisis. Sorry, I'm pronouncing that the Spanish way. I'm probably totally wrong. Uh,
Here, I'll flip it again.
okay, thank you.
Whoa.
Changeling, an odd blessing, a mystery unquestioned, a strange bedfellow. Okay. Um, I'm gonna lean more into the odd blessing and mystery unquestioned. as my character. Like right now, my character is just kind of like, okay, I am a magical being. Like this is my state. Trying to figure out, oh, I have the ability to turn into a seal or swim underwater or turn into a weird seal hybrid thing. And, I, have a skin that I can remove and a magic violin. Um, and right now my character is just sort of, that's my character's current fortune. They're just like immersed in magic weirdness.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
I think that makes sense. And then, so the last card, the Atropos card, this card works a little bit differently than the rest of the cards in the game. So I'll take a second to explain it just for people watching. Your Atropos card is your final card. It is your character's swan song. So the way that your character ends the game, you choose to play that card. So the Atropos, all of our Atropos cards will be out for the whole game. Our Desire cards will also be out for the whole game because you can play cards onto your Desire to do different things, to advance your Desire, basically. So this is how your story could end. It's very up to interpretation. So you don't have to interpret this right now. You just flip it over and save it to see what's to come. So whenever you're ready, I'll flip it over for you.
All right, flip it.
Ooh.
Oh. Hunter, fur-laden and sharp-eyed, color of herds, harbinger of extinction.
Okay. That's a spicy one.
That is a spicy one.
But
I notice that the flip side is water related.
ooh,
Taylor,
yeah, let's
could
flip
you
it over.
flip it for me?
Got it.
The wolf in the woods, the monster in the water. I would like to pick that one instead because I feel like it's more thematically appropriate for my character and the setting.
Yes. So yeah, as a note for people watching, if we were playing Spindlewheel in person, then we could shuffle the cards in whatever direction, and they could be facing whatever direction. Roll20 doesn't have a way to randomize orientation, and also in the game, they say do whatever you want. So if we want to flip cards to the other interpretation, always allowed. Can always do that. Okay, cool. Who wants to go next to introduce their character? Let me zoom out.
The second fail son. Hi. I'm playing Reese Albury. His pronouns are he, him. His core card is the Flood, which I'm picking an outpour of riches. This man has money, which is very unfortunate for him. I'm gonna make it his exact problem. And his crossing is doctor, an authoritative voice, curious mind, and an unscrupulous scalpel.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's just like, yeah. I wonder what this is. I'm gonna go deeper into this rabbit hole now. Let's see. I'm trying to find the little thingy that I can move it over to. His boon is stilt-legged fishers, trembling giants, and a long reach with a frail limb. I'm gonna say that he just believes in mermaids, and he's just like, you know what? I shouldn't, but you know what? I'm taking a reach. I have no reason to believe this, other than maybe like a couple of weird things that I've maybe seen at night. But you know what? It's fine. I'm going out on a limb.
Very cool.
Let me go back over here. And then his bane is his problem, his worst problem. A dubious honor. You know what? He faked his way through medical school. I think he cheated on his finals.
Oh my god. So he is an actual doctor.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Just the worst, man.
Incredible.
The worst, man. Fail son. Fail man. Not even a fail son. A fail man.
A failed man.
He delivers failure to your doorstep.
With 1 day shipping.
Yes, with 1 hour.
1 hour shipping. Awesome.
Oh man. His message is Lieutenant. How you'll get what you want: a right hand of power, loyal failure, a weak leak in the chain. I think he has somebody that is either in the historical society or with the mermaids that's just like, I need to know what this is. Tell me.
Cool.
And then finally, Desire, Prince of Fate. What you want most: a last of a legacy, blessed by birthright and cursed by prophecy. Oof. He wants what's his, and that is being the favorite. Being the not disappointment of the family.
Yeah.
This
That's
bad boy
very
can
cool.
fit so much trauma in him.
Love that. Let me
Oh
go
man.
over to your fates. And let's start with your first one. How you began.
Proud, venomous, obsession unswayed by reason or patience. Yeah, this man knows that like a mermaid exists in this world. He knows there's
Cool.
at least one, maybe.
There's at least one. It was not a beluga whale. It was a mermaid.
Exactly. Uh, current fortune is goose down. A notable delay in the layer of numbness. I think he just like. I think his like board of doctors is just like, hey, can you retest those scores again?
Oh. It's like in
Yep.
Community when they're like, "Oh, it says you went to school in Colombia," and he's like, "I did go to school in Colombia, but it's like the country." And they're like, "We found out that you're faking." Great. Oh, and your final card is a doozy as well.
Oh yes. Nightmare. A recurring terror. Dreams of hellfire. Lightning striking the steeple. Oh, this poor man's not gonna get out okay.
Something bad, I think, is gonna happen to Reese.
Exactly.
Uh, okay, well, Basil, do you want to do your character next, or do you want me to go next?
I can go next.
Go for it.
So I am playing Jasper Taylor, who is a very sad sack, honestly. Like, not intrinsically sad. I just think that they use they them. That they're trying and failing constantly. So we have another failed person in the pile. Jasper's core is famine, blighted soil, fallow fields, poisoned rivers. So at Jasper's core, honestly, I think it's just that nothing they do comes to fruition. They try and it's just they just suck, honestly. They're crossing, so what they're known for is the heavy crown. And I will turn that a little because it's a little bit. There we go. Because the one I chose was a sword bent into a crown, a brow cut by the weight, a miracle forged and blood spilled. So Jasper sucks, but they're known to be dependable and they'll get things done and they'll do it. But whether it'll actually like be beneficial remains to be seen. Their boon is darkness, a curtain thicker than the absence of light. Considering all of the paranormal stuff that goes on in this coastal town, I feel that Jasper, despite wanting to be seen as like, the person you want to see, I feel like there is definitely, whether literally or metaphorically, like a cloud of darkness that follows them. Like they show up in the mood the vibe is ruined. Everything, the vibe is rancid now. Jasper is here. No one's making eye contact. It's It's like that one meme of those people booing and that lady's like, you need to leave. Like, that's what happens every time Jasper shows up.
Oh no.
Their bane, so their worst problem is the fallen, a sheep fleeced, a chump bamboozled, a chronically unlucky sucker. Which, I mean, it's straightforward. Jasper has zero luck. Nothing goes well for them. Everything they try tends to have, even if it looks like it's going well, there's always some like waiting for the other shoe to drop. Something goes wrong in the background. Like they find like $5 on the ground, and then it turns out that like that $5 belonged to like this old lady, and then they have to give it back. Like, it's just misfortune for them all the time. Their method is so how they'll get what they want is wildfire, clearing the underbrush, maintenance to prevent consuming calamity. So again, Jasper's dependable. They'll get the job done. They'll do it. I kind of see them, one, working for the Historical Society, and two, just kind of being that person who's been at that job for like a while. They're not the greatest. They're not the best, but they're dependable. They never take time off work. They're just there doing their job responsibilities as best as they can. And their desire, so what Jasper wants most, is the apostle, the discontent, the faithful gadfly, persistent and critical. So this one, I feel that to some degree, I think Jasper just wants everybody to kind of suck like they do. Like, if we all suck, then like everyone kind of levels out, and we're all terrible together. But I think also they also want to point out like how much this town sucks. Like, Jasper lives here and has lived here their entire life, but they're also just like, you know, there's mermaids in the ocean. There's so much coral. There's weird things going on. I do think that Jasper is aware that the Historical Society is like going around stealing people's stories, and just that's the other thing. Jasper's not good at that. Jasper sucks every time at trying to get someone's story. They're constantly going after people whose stories have already been taken and asking the same questions, and that person has no idea what Jasper is talking about. So I feel like their desire is to also point out the flaws of the Historical Society of, okay, we have all these stories, but what are we doing with them? Apparently nothing. So they're just kind of like this sort of like, they want to be this successful con man. I feel like the person who can just open doors and grease palms and talk to everyone. But it's just like, it's like failing all of your speech like checks every single time, and people just tell them to leave.
Oh, great. Amazing. Let's take a look at your fate cards.
Yes.
Start with how you began.
Yes, so the Clotho card for Jasper is Vagabond, a wanderer bearing only a suitcase, a story, and a smile. So the way I kind of flavored that in my mind, Jasper wants to be that quintessential like noir protagonist, you know, smooth, drinks whiskey, can talk to people, smokes. Jasper cannot smoke successfully. Every time they try, they end up just coughing on the pipe. They still try. They have a pipe. They keep it, but they're bad at it. But I think that's how they like showed up. And like when they went to go join the Historical Society, they were just like, yeah, you know, you can open so many doors with a smile, but their smile is like weird and uses too much teeth. And it's pretty much like every photo I've ever taken when I try to smile. It's just awkward. No. But for their lachesis, their current fortune, I pulled Tapestry Loom, which is the mainstay, the through line, the common thread, and a complicated plan. So again, Jasper is like not the like essential like pillar of the Historical Society, but Jasper is the person that you can ask to go run errands and do things and follow up on reports, and they'll do it. So they're a part of the Historical Society, and they're just kind of like, it's like, oh, there goes Jasper, good old reliable Jasper. Successful Jasper, no, but you can count on them to always be there.
They will always physically be there.
They will support you, but they're not supportive. And then for Jasper's final card for Atropos, it's Bad Blood, which is to drink from the same poison cup as your enemy. So tying back in with that noir theme, personally, I think like Jasper just wants to like go out in like a poignant way, like full on like, oh, you know, we both like we both fire at the same time and we both die, but I saved the city kind of nonsense. Whether that will actually happen or if like Jasper ends up like shooting a bird or something instead remains to be seen. But that is my little fail person, Jasper.
Incredible. I'll talk about my character then. So my character, her name is Jane Doe, and that's because she washed up on the shore. She was like a person who was found. She didn't have any, like identification, like no way to know who she was. She doesn't remember anything. Um, I guess I'll say this now because this game it doesn't really benefit me to keep secrets. She is a mermaid. She doesn't know that she's a mermaid, and I actually think that she, Little Mermaid style right now is not even really able to speak, because her name, her item that like is the representation of her name has been stolen from her. So she's like very blank slate. She is appearing to be human right now, so also kind of Little Mermaid style, whether that's because, you know, she has something similar going on to Connor where she can like shapeshift and sometimes appear human, sometimes appear mermaid, or whether that's like related to her like not knowing who she is remains to be seen, but she appears to just be a human in her, like, you know, probably late 20s, early 30s. Very plain looking, very kind of forgettable. Nobody in the town, like, remembers her, but a lot of people are like, well, maybe she's that girl that worked in the market, like, you know, a couple years back. Or maybe, oh, I remember there was a girl who kind of looked like her that, like, she just has kind of one of those faces that people don't really remember her. So my core is the Priestess card, a calming presence, a reality grounded, a divine purpose. And my echo, or my crossing card is the echo, tongue-tied with stutters, chest full of birds, head full of fog, which is where the memory issues and not being able to speak both come from my crossing card. For the core, I imagine that whoever she was as a mermaid was someone important, but she doesn't know that, so we'll kind of all find that out together, who she was before. Her bane, her worst problem is survivor, shipwrecked sailor, mountain roamer, shiv maker, snake eater. And I think whoever that is the person who took everything from her. I think that's her worst problem, is a person that she encountered. I think maybe someone, you know, a sailor or a fisherman or something like that. My boon, my greatest asset, is Alpha, cult leader, defender of the homeland, enemy of outsiders, and dissent, which I think probably means that she had some degree of power in when she was a mermaid, like when she's with her group, but she doesn't know that. My desire is fortuity, a nasty surprise, an excessive gift, a foolish loan. I think this is a couple things that I'm going to interpret this as a desire. Partially, this I think ties into the nasty surprise, kind of ties into like she probably wants revenge on whoever did this to her whenever she finds out that this was something done to her, and not just like, oh, she was in a shipwreck and doesn't know who she is. I also think we've talked about this a little bit, and for the benefit of people watching who weren't in our session 0, the mermaids in our story have these trinkets that they find and they exchange and they do these deals, but it's very like Fae energy where, you know, there's a cost and the cost isn't what you might expect. So I think the excessive gift and foolish loan is kind of her desire to gain power over others through trickery and through, selling things and giving gifts. And then method, how you'll get what you want, is apprentice, bright-eyed, strong-willed, above and beyond expectations. And I think she comes across as an innocent. I think, especially because of like the whole situation with her being found and her memory. So I think people kind of underestimate her because they're like, oh, she's this poor girl who's like, we don't know where she's from, we don't know who she is. So I think that's how she gets what she wants a lot of times. So I'm going to flip over my fate cards. Where it began. Peacekeeper, mediator, vigilante justice, law in the land of the common folk. Let me see what the other side is. Enforcer, honor guard, the steel grip of martial law. I think I like the first one more. I think that she was maybe when she was, I keep saying when she was a mermaid. She still is a mermaid. But when she knew who she was before she lost her memories, I like the idea that maybe she was like a judge of some kind. Like she was like deciding, people's fates. So I think I'm going to go with that. My current fortune, ooh, this is an interesting one. Oathbound. A surrogate, a found family, the blood of the covenant. I really like that. Yeah. I flipped over the other side just to see what it is, but I think I like the one I got. Because found family, yeah, I think she's made friends here, I think, as, with even though she doesn't have her memory. She's been like this for a while. I think long enough that she's made friends, made kind of a new life for herself. And then my final card for my fate. Oh, it's Quiet Knife. A threat unspoken, a debt collected, a trap laid. Let me see the other side. No, I want the one that I flipped. Yeah. I don't think I need to elaborate on that.
We all have like super intense tropos. Like, I don't know how that happened, but is there like a separate deck that it's just for tropos cards? No.
No.
It's just these were all.
I think these cards, a lot of these cards are just very menacing. I think helps that like most of the cards you're gonna pull for your tropos are gonna be.
I don't know. I just feel like Jane, Jasper, and the doctor, Reese, and Connor are all on their way to like a dark destiny. Like every single one of them.
I think so.
That's why I thought there was a separate deck. I'm like, did they like partition off like the final cards into like a separate? No.
No.
Did they put all the vibes bad into a separate place? No.
we just drew them.
It's just like it's like Scholar could have been in there, but Scholar's not there. So of course I'm thinking, is there a separate deck? Anyway, I don't mean to distract, but it's the pattern, the magic of Spindlewheel, I guess.
Okay, so now that we've got our characters, we will each take our desire card and put it over next to the scene threads. Each of us has a little spot for ours that goes with like matches the kind of spot on our character sheet. And then the Atropos card, I think we just keep where it is on the spread. And then all the other cards that are in your spread, that now becomes your hand, your starting hand for the game. You can draw these, like if you side click and then click take card, you can draw them into a hand. You can also just leave them spread out on the playing field, whatever works for you emotionally and visually, however you'd like them to be. If it's easier for you to just move around from there, go for it. If you feel like you want to have them in your hand, that's fine too. Okay, and then I think the other thing that I almost forgot, is entanglements. Our characters' lives are tangled together by life bonds, responsibilities, or dumb luck. To tie an entanglement with another player, declare who you have a tie with. Each of you play a card from your hand that describes what binds you. For example, this is what I need from you, what you want from me, why we can't avoid each other. Exchange these cards into each other's hands. Entanglements can be declared at any time, and you can tie entanglements with as many other players as you want, including the Arbiter if you want to tie your character to the world. So we can do entanglements more as the game goes, but we do start with doing that as well. So we can kind of know, are our characters involved with each other? You know, what's the deal? I think we can do one for each, or we can we'll just play it by ear, I think. However we want to do it. If we want to each person exchange a card or whatever we have. I do have one that I do want to swap with or give to someone else, because I think this found family card, I think to tie the story together, it would make sense to give that to one of you as an entanglement. Do I want it to be I don't think it should be Connor.
No, it's a little bit speed run to resolution.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I recognize you. You're this mermaid that I know. So I don't think it should be Connor. Do I want it to be the sad detective or the corrupt doctor that I've made my found family? I feel like I would have more run-ins with Jasper, probably. Since Jasper is in the history society, like I imagine Jasper is like kind of wandering around talking to people a lot. So I think, Basil, I'm gonna give, if you'll have it, I'll give you the Oathbound card to put in your hand, and then you get to give me one of your cards from your hand.
Yeah, that works for me. Let me look at my cards again. So for the cards that we can trade for entanglements, is that excluding our fate cards?
Only the Atropos. So you can, the other two you can, once they're flipped over and you've interpreted them, you can just put them in your hand.
Okay, but can I give away the first two fate cards to someone else as an entanglement, or no?
Yes, you can.
Okay, that gives me more options. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna swap with you Tapestry Loom. I think that fits with everything else going on with Jane Doe. I also wanted to... So what I wanted to do, I wanted to give the Fallen to you, Jelly, but specifically I wanted it to be because you were talking about how your method is Lieutenant. I wanted to give you the Fallen card because I feel like Reese is probably the person who's constantly like talking to Jasper to get them to do stuff.
Yeah, I love that.
So if you're cool with that, Jelly, I can. Okay. All right, I will move that card. And then you can scooch it where you like.
And then I will give you. I'm thinking either Lieutenant. Yeah, actually, here.
I
Makes
think
sense.
Jasper, because they're part of the historical society, I'd like to give you the glass lens. I think like my character doesn't quite know how to move forward. Like my desire is to learn more, right? And you have the most access in town out of all of the people I know. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That works because I was thinking of trading also giving you my darkness card, so a curtain thicker than the absence of light. Because well, you're a Selkie, and Selkies can dive deep. At least I think they can. I think seals can do that. Let
Yeah. For
me
sure, for
just
sure.
slowly scooch this down.
Mm.
There we go.
Cool.
There we go. Ooh, I'm so excited. I have the darkness card.
Yeah. Does anyone else have cards that they want to use to entangle with anyone else?
I would like to. Okay, I know this is like really metaphorical, but could I give Jane Doe the chasm card representing us not having really crossed paths yet?
Ooh, yeah. I like that.
Okay. Just sort of like symbolizing the fact that we just keep missing each other, even though we
Yeah.
have
Mm.
like, we know some of the same people. And maybe
Yeah.
I've heard stories about how like, oh, this priestess and arbiter of our people has gone missing. And I'm just kind of like, yeah, okay. I guess that's important. The fish girls are upset about something. I don't know.
um, okay, cool. I think then I'm gonna give you an exchange the apprentice card. Um,
Ooh.
and I think because um I'm imagining that Connor, which you can correct me if I'm wrong, is how old is Connor?
Connor is like 23, 24.
Okay, so Connor's a little
Like
bit
like
younger
yeah,
than Jane
yeah,
is.
like Connor just finished college, like, and is kind of come back to town because they don't know what to do with their degree. Uh
That's okay. That works because I think that um even though we haven't crossed paths, I think Jane, before losing her memories, had kind of like seen Connor and thought like, oh, that might be a good person to kind of like take under my wing
mhm.
and like, oh, this is somebody who has like
Yeah,
some potential.
maybe you knew me as a kid, like,
Yeah.
like before, and maybe the reason why, oh, this makes sense. Maybe the reason why I don't know what's happened to you is because all that went down while I was in the mainland going to college.
Yeah. Cool. I think
Like,
that makes
let's say
sense.
I went, yeah, let's say like I went up to like the Hampton Roads area because there's like a marine science uh museum. There's a great like marine biology institute place up
Hmm.
there up in Hampton Roads, and maybe I went like up there and was there for a couple of years, and now I'm just back in town resettling, trying to figure out like the mystery, the knowledge, of the
Yeah.
violin and everything. So,
That's cool. Yeah,
uh,
I think
yeah.
I'll make Jane Doe a little bit older then. So maybe like late 30s instead of early 30s. So I think
Mm.
that'll match up a little bit better. Cool. Any other
I have
entanglements?
an I have an idea.
Mhm.
Adversary for you, Felicity, for Jane Doe. Because I take
Ooh.
your name. I took your name on accident or on purpose. I don't know yet.
Ooh, yeah, okay. I think I really like that. Can it be that you're not the person who stole my name from me, but you have ended up with it?
I bought it
Like,
at the Gay Dolphin on accident.
yeah. I love
Gay
that.
dolphin.
That's a real
Uh,
story in the Carolinas. That's on
um,
the boardwalk.
what do I want to give you in return? Um, huh. Okay, then I think I'll give you in return to I think even though you are not the person who stole things from me, I think I will give you the survivor card. Um,
Hmm.
as that's like kind of the card that I had to symbolize like who stole all my stuff. So I'll give
Ooh.
that
Hmm.
to you.
Who
Ooh,
took
Reese
my
has met
shit?
them. Reese has met them, whoever they are, because that's who they got it
Yeah.
from.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is so messy.
This is a messy game. And imagine, I was gonna accidentally skip all this because I was so excited to get to the scenes. Any other entanglements?
I may have a couple. Oog. Okay.
And we can also continue to do entanglements like during scenes as well.
Okay.
So if you have some that you're like,
Cool.
that's not to say, hey, don't do that. But if you have some that you're still puzzling through, you can also do them later.
I will do them later.
Awesome. Okay. If nobody else has entanglements, let's go back to the scene threads we pulled earlier. Which and I'll highlight since I haven't said this on stream yet, the Atropos of the world is Windfall, a fortune lost, a secret uncovered, a bullet dodged. So we'll revisit that at the end of the story. And then the desire of the world is Bandit, gold-hearted thief, lover of justice, defiler of law, which we have taken, interpreted this as there is a treasure, a sunken treasure that is rumored about, that like everyone is always talking about. And what is involved in that treasure?
Names.
Yeah, a pile of names, a pile of memories, all sorts of goodies in this treasure. Okay, so Jelly, I'll throw it back to you to interpret what these scene threads mean. The core of the behemoth and the crossing of the moon. Where does our story start? And then you also had picked a wager as the prompt.
Let's see. I'm looking at this. I think there's a red tide event happening, or at least starting.
Ooh.
Like the warning signs are there, the levels are getting higher.
Yeah. Is red tide is when the issue when there's like the harmful algae? Is that what am I thinking the right thing? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Horrible for the beginning of tourist season.
Yeah.
For there to be a red tide.
And I think that I'm looking at this and I'm just like, what if the tide like finally went out and you can actually like get closer to the treasure? Not entirely. Still have to get through that red tide a little bit, but much less of it than you would have to.
Whoops. I was muted. What are some specifics of this scene? Like, where is this taking place? Like, who's there? What's going on with the? I imagine it's like on the shore. Like the tide is going out. There's some people thinking about this treasure, and this might be a good chance to go for it.
Go ahead, Hector.
I was just gonna say, I think that like Connor is definitely there just to sort of just like jump in and like yes and like and then Connor is thinking about how like he's not really afraid of the red tide because if necessary he could just shapeshift into his seal form and have it not really affect him like it would like a typical human. And I think Connor has texted Jasper to have Jasper meet him at the beach.
That works because Jasper definitely was not at the beach. I I don't know where exactly Jasper was. Probably, honestly, just kind of wandering around trying to make their own sort of luck for the day. Probably, honestly, with like a whole list of like chores they're supposed to be doing tucked into their back pocket. And then they see the text from Connor and they're like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'll just amble over on that way.
And I think like once they arrive, Connor's gonna be like, so it might be a red tide, but it's a low tide. Look out there, and kind of points to where like there's like a visible sandbar, like out in the water, and it's just like the old man in the lighthouse says that sandbar is where the wreck was. You want stories? You want so many stories? Everybody at the Historical Society will freak out. I think we should go exploring there.
Yeah, I mean, you know what can go wrong? There's only so many times that fortune can sneer her face at me when I just ask for a simple crumb of, affection. And Jasper's just kind of rubbing their hands together and it's like, yes, today is the day, definitely, definitely. And I did not properly describe Jasper when I was talking about them because I speed ran through making a pit crew for them. But Jasper is like, imagine like this 1800s looking gentleman with blonde hair, with an undercut, as we just mess with history, but is also wearing an obnoxious amount of jewelry that is mostly flower themed. Jasper is wearing these in an attempt to be luckier. They fully believe in the idea of lucky items. But instead of like rabbit's foots and like 4-leaf clovers, it's just because of it being coastal, they think that the shinier the token, the better to get like good fortune from the mermaids. So it's just all like shiny jewels and seashells and whatnot, and like a giant flower kind of, somehow pinned into their hair. Not well. I feel like it's a thing that Jasper constantly has to readjust and has way too many bobby pins, but is just like patting themselves down and making sure they have all of their trinkets. And they're like, yes, no, this will turn out well, I think, for, well, if not you, then me. I think, yes, treasure and stories, so many stories. And then I'll show all of them at the Historical Society. They won't, laugh when I walk through the door again.
Connor is kind of like, I don't know, I guess you could say like new age beach bum with like like a linen shirt and like fishing, like tie fishing pants unironically worn, and rope sandals, with like a shell, the pucha shell necklace that he probably shouldn't be wearing, but like, he's like, I'm a shape-shifting Selkie, mystical being. You talk to me about cultural appropriation. I'm literally from the ocean. And but he's white. That's the thing. He's like Black Irish. So like so he's got like the fair skin with a slight olive cast to it from like, Spanish heritage way back in the day, and maybe some indigenous heritage from when his family moved to North America. Dark hair, intense blue-green eyes, but still with a slight, like darker, actually no, brown eyes, deep brown, rich ocean like seal eyes. You were like seal eyes, or that are just like they almost have like take up like the full. There's like almost no whites, but it's kind of like that, and he's got like a one of those like woven bags, like beach bags that people like, keep their suntan lotion and their water in. He's got one of those, and he's like, You gotta get out there, but you can't really swim in that getup. I don't know if you going in that water is going to be particularly safe. Don't you have like a doctor contact that has a boat, a private boat we can take out there? What was their name again? Doctor. They're
Yes.
thinking.
You know, well, I mean, do we need to contact them? Maybe we could just the two of us. You know, a duo is much better than a trio. I don't know if we really need to involve Doctor Alvey in this. I mean, we can. Well, then again, 3 is a lucky number. You know, it makes a triangle. And I'd rather not get my pants wet again. You remember that incident with the fish barrel?
Right. So, I mean, it's your call. I could figure something out to get us out there without the boat. You don't have the best luck.
Turning. My luck is turning. It's always turning, sometimes into darker corners, but you know, it'll turn again and go up. We can only go up from here. I'm going to be positive. And so Jasper is going to give Reese a call.
Hi?
Hello. We're down at the down by the coast. You see the tide? It's you know, it's kind of rolled back a bit. Do you still have that boat? We Connor's here. You know, he says hi. Can we borrow your boat? You should come along too. You know, we all remember what happened to the little spoonbill. You know, that dear beloved boat of the barkeep, and why I'm banned from that bar, even though I paid him back. I mean, how was I supposed to know you shouldn't take a boat out at night in deep fog? I thought it was the best time to collect crab buckets, but apparently not. And, you know, rest in pieces, the little spoonbill. But so you should probably drive. But yes, come visit us and bring your boat, please.
Okay. I might, oh God. I have a visitor here. Say hi, Jane.
Yeah, Jane like kind of looks up, kind of confused, and says, "Hi, Jane."
We'll work on it. We're gonna work on it. Yeah, I'll be right there. Yeah. I still need to break a bottle of champagne on that boat, by the way. You're not breaking it. You cannot tell who that was said to.
I'm going to rudely interrupt with some rules for the game.
Absolutely, please do.
Now that we all have kind of established where we are and what's going on, Jellyfish, feel free at any time to introduce the wager aspect of this scene. So the way the game works is each of us will take turns, and we can interact during these turns. Then they can go in any order, and you can go. There's no end of the scene. It's not like you have a certain number of turns. But on your turn, you can play a card from your character's hand, either to the onto your desire. So if you're doing something that advances your desire, you can do that. You can also play a card from your hand into the scene threads. That's basically you're kind of saying like, my character is doing this thing. This is how it's affecting the story, and that's how I'm interpreting this card. We can also play cards from and you can also play a card from your character's hand into another character's hand and do more entanglements. That's another way you can do it. You can also play a card from the Arbiter. So the Arbiter deck has all of the cards that we use to build the world. Those are all still in there. So you can play a card from the Arbiter on the scene thread to affect the scene. You can play a card from the Arbiter into someone's hand to affect their character, or you can play a card from the Arbiter on a desire. I'm reading this wrong. Character and Arbiter cards both can be on the scene thread into someone's hand or on a desire. This is formatted
Okay.
really nicely, and I just I was like, I don't know what these ellipses are for. You can play a card from the Arbiter on desire to pursue your goals. So either character cards from your hand, or cards from the Arbiter. You can do that. You can draw a card into your hand from the main deck, the cards that we haven't used yet. So either the Spindlewheel deck or Tide Rack. You can draw a card from there to see how you feel or change. Or you can draw a card from one of the other decks into the Arbiter deck to answer world questions. So you'll add more things into the world by drawing from the main deck. Who would like to go first to play a card we're all at the beach. We have a boat and we're looking for treasure. And there's going to be a wager here somewhere. Does anyone have a card that they want to play first?
I am. Hmm.
I have a quick question.
I'm trying to figure out what the wager is. I got so caught up in the goal
Oh, yeah.
of getting the treasure that I was like, oh wait, there's
What
supposed
is-
to be a wager.
The scene is a wager. Yeah, we can think about that. Basil, what was your question?
Which one is the Arbiter deck?
Oh yes, the Arbiter deck is the cards that are below the Windfall card. So right above or right next to the scene threads, there are these cards here that I'm kind of moving around.
Okay,
Oh,
those. Okay.
That's the Arbiter deck.
Okay.
So to draw from that, it's not like the other decks because you can't like make a sub deck from different cards in Roll20. So you would just grab one of those and put it wherever you want to and flip it over.
Cool.
Okay, and then what's the difference?
Yeah.
Sorry, but what's the difference
Okay.
between the Arbiter deck, the classic deck, and the Tide Rack deck? Does the Arbiter deck only affect the world?
No, it's basically just the Arbiter deck are cards that we already have used to create the story. So all the cards in the Arbiter deck are the cards that we used in the session 0 for the world's core crossing boon, etc. So all of those get put into the Arbiter deck because it's like we kind of already know a little bit about what those mean. The cards from the Spindlewheel Classic deck and from the Tide Rack deck are ways to introduce new things into the story. So we can draw new aspects into the world by drawing from one of those two decks and putting it into the Arbiter deck. We look at it first, we see what what the card is and interpret it, and then add it to the Arbiter deck. Or you can draw a card from that deck, interpret it, and then add it to your hand to determine like what about my character has changed, like what has the world done that involves my character. So basically the main things you can do in this game are play a card from your hand somewhere else, play a card from the Arbiter deck somewhere else, or draw a new card into the Arbiter deck or your hand. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I have an idea. Let me see if Jelly likes this, because Jelly was the one who came up with the wager. What if we have a jump cut, right? We're on the ship, and all of a sudden, we don't really know what it is, right? Like the camera is like on the scene. There's no sound except for like score. And then it's just like Jasper and Connor are in an argument. And of some kind. Maybe they have a disagreement over like who gets the treasure or what the treasure is about. And Connor is like, fine. Whoever actually finds it first gets the majority of the treasure. How does that sound? And then Connor is going to turn around, leap, and jump off the boat into the water. And I am going to use one of my cards. And I'm specifically going to use my Leviathan boon card on the thread to
Cool.
represent Connor going into the water, seeing like the secret like cavern, like as he goes down, as he's like in the water, he sees like where the tunnel is, and like starts to sort of draw like weird like eldritch ocean power from the engine, and then shapeshift into this like hybrid seal human form with like all the red plankton kind of dancing around him, not really affecting him, as he rockets towards the shallower area near the sandbar where he believes the treasure is hidden. And I'm going to go ahead and drop the Leviathan card onto the thread, right? That's how that works?
Yes. Yep, right below
Okay.
the moon.
Sweet.
And then once we are done with the scene, everyone gets to pick a card that's played into the scene thread to put in their hand, and then we all decide one card to go into the Arbiter deck. The rest of the cards from the scene are discarded. So,
And that's my turn.
awesome. Who wants to go next? If no one has anything, go ahead, Basil.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, I think since narratively, since Connor and Jasper were arguing and Connor decided to just jump off the boat, Jasper's just like, fine, be that way. You know what? I too could jump off into the water and swim, but I like my pants dry. And just kind of looking at Reese and Jane, like, you know, can you believe the nerve of that person? Like, we had a perfectly functional, reasonable boat. And now all this talk of, oh, whichever one of us gets to the treasure first. Obviously, it's going to be me. I'm going to get the majority share. And I think I'm gonna draw a card from, I guess, the Tide Rack deck.
Cool.
I just kind of want to use one of the new ones. Let's see.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm gonna get. Oh, okay, it's in my hand. How do I get it out of my hand and onto the table?
I think you can just drag it from your hand. If you click on the card, like the card that's above your name, then it'll show your hand, and
okay.
I think you can drag it onto the table from there.
There we go. Oh, I'm sure that's fine. So I got wind.
Wait, what did you get? Where is it? Oh, I see.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's over there next to the scene threads. I got wind, which is either no sign of where we sat on the dune next to the rustling grass, or waves. In winter, the sea foam fell like snow on our garden in unrelenting assault. I think, honestly, because Jasper was tempting fate, I feel like saying, like, oh, and, you know, I want to stay dry. And then right at that moment, there's just like a wave that just, you know, splashes over the boat. Doesn't hit anyone else, just Jasper, soaked, you know, from like the ribs down. So their pants are just super soggy now. And they're just kind of just standing there dripping with salt water and looking at their pants, wet socks, and shoes that are just like, you know what? I'm not 100% wet, so this is better than last time. This is better than what happened on the Spoonbill.
What happened last time?
We don't need to talk about what happened last time. The poor Spoonbill rest its nautical soul. You know, trying to. I made my way back to shore. That's the important thing. And I think Basil, Jasper is honestly just going to sit down.
Yeah. Basil, you get to take that wave card and put it in your hand, since you drew it from the deck, instead of into the scene threads.
Oh, that's
so you
cool.
get to keep that for later. I think...
Mr. Muscatel.
I think I might want to play... Which of these cards? I think I'm going to play the Echo card into the scene threads. Because I think Jane... Oh, I remember Liza Jane couldn't talk, and then earlier she did say hi, Jane. So maybe that's the only thing that she can really say is hi, Jane. So I think she's been very quiet. Let me bring this to the front. I think she's been very quiet during all of this, as she usually is, and just kind of her eyes wide watching the whole scene. Sees Connor dive into the water, and I think it feels familiar. Like that action, like watching Connor do that feels familiar to her, but she doesn't know why or how. And she doesn't have like a specific memory of it, but just it's like, oh, that feels like I feel like I could do that. I feel like I like remember doing that. And so echoing what Connor just did, she also dives down into the water, but her memory ends there. She doesn't remember, like she's not like completely like sinking down to the bottom, but I don't think she's particularly good at swimming right now, so it's just kind of floundering in the water, like does like a perfect dive off the boat. Like the muscle memory is still there, but then once underwater it just kind of doesn't know what's happening and starts to splash. But I think sees sees Connor and sees the transformation, but doesn't understand it and is like frightened by it. I don't think she knows necessarily that that was Connor. Like she sees kind of this creature, like almost monster looking thing deep below. So is like floundering in the water, sees something that scares her, can't swim very well, can't communicate what she's seen. And so is just splashing and floundering.
How about you, Jelly? What do you got?
I
card
think
you
I'm just
play?
like, I think I'm just watching this entire scene, and I'm just like, okay, one person decided to go overboard. That's fine. That person got splashed. That's also fine. The the person that cannot talk or yelp for help went overboard. Jesus Christ. Oh, so I'm gonna go here and play. I can't even read from this distance out in Roll20, unfortunately.
Walkers.
It hates my laptop. It hates my laptop. Walkers, which is a long reach with this frail limb.
Nice.
And I'm going to try and reach for you to try and bring you back up for air.
Yeah. Yeah, how does that go? I mean, this is GMless, so you can decide.
I think I like get you like at least by like the shirt collar on the back of your shirt collar, and just like, are you okay? Don't answer that. And like just kind of like, you know how like you like have to like get a cat by like the scruff of its neck and also like from the like side of it in order to like get it to not bite you, or you're
Yeah.
picking it up sometimes. It's like that but with a shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, you pull me out of the water. I'm like spluttering a little bit, like spit out a bunch of water. And my eyes are wide and I'm like pointing back down at the water and trying to mime like, but I don't even know what I'm really miming because I don't even really know what I saw. And I'm just like pointing down and then pointing to like where Connor was sitting, I think, to kind of be like, oh, Connor like might be in danger, and like pointing back in the water and then going like, ah, like making a face like something scary is happening.
I give you a water and I go like, don't swallow it, swish and spit into the water. That is red tide.
I'm already I'm
it can give
drinking
you a
it.
neurotoxin.
I like, as you said, I'm like starting to drink it, and then I like register what you're saying, swish it around, and spit it out.
Yep, that's it. Red tide's a neurotoxin. Don't drink it.
Okay. And then now we do the next event.
So we can, yeah, we could move to the next event. We could resolve the scene thread, which I think makes sense. We've all kind of done things, and looking at the time, I think that makes sense. And okay, so what we do next, actually, I'm gonna do one more thing. I'm gonna pull from the Arbiter deck. just to see if anything juicy
Mhm.
happens to add to the scene. So let me flip this over. And
Okay.
it is the angel
Cool.
card. Which is the Arbiter
Oh
Divine,
shoot!
a
What? Oh
single-minded
gosh!
holy
I'm trying to remember.
force. What were you trying to remember?
No, I'm trying to remember what we had assigned. That was
Oh,
when we
the
did our session 0.
machine.
That meant.
Mm-hmm.
Oh right. Yep.
Yeah, the desalinization, I think, is what this was, because it was the, I forget which spot it was, but that's kind of what it represented. The Arbiter Divine, a
Right.
single-minded holy force, ancient machinery, abandoned and disrepair. I think, um, hmm, what note does this leave us on? I think what we
Yeah, because Connor
see,
was drawing power from it.
yeah. Um, I think, is it more interesting if it, because it's not something that's actively working right now, right? We decided the machine was like
Hmm.
decommissioned. I
Hmm.
think some part of it turns on, something about it changes, and it's, I think we can leave this open-ended, so like we don't know exactly what's happening. It's not desalinizing or whatever. It's not doing that. It's doing something else. Something else more
Yeah,
menacing and
it's
upsetting.
starting to glow and like like
Yeah, the water is
yeah.
bubbling. I think maybe Connor is glowing with the same glow of like the machine, like around both of you. There's some kind of connection. Um, and oh, sorry. I just saw what you asked, Basil. Let me fix this. There we go. Um, so okay, so that's our first scene. And after we resolve where these cards are going, we'll take our first we'll take our break. But everyone gets to pick a card from the scene thread. So the Behemoth, the Moon, Leviathan, Echo, Walkers, or Angel, and put it into your hand. So we'll do that first. And it's in any order. So if somebody wants to call dibs on one, they can. And then after that, we'll pick. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we'll pick one to go back in the Arbiter deck, and then the rest will be discarded.
Yeah, I'll take Angel.
Cool.
I'm taking
Um,
Echo.
I think I'll take Leviathan.
I grabbed the moon card.
Cool.
Nice.
All right, there's Leviathan. And then between Walkers and Behemoth, what do we want to come up again? What is the story not done with?
I would like to put Behemoth in the story deck.
Mm.
Cool. I'm seeing nods. No one is
Mm.
no one is yelling, "No, God, no." And then let me remove this card because we're done
Right.
with that one. All right, so we are going to take a 15-minute break. So we'll be back in 15 minutes. While we're on break, get a drink, get a snack, all of that good stuff. And we'll continue on with the story. Oh, I just realized. Hang on 1 second. Okay, I didn't have the break screen loaded up. We'll be back in about 15 minutes, and we'll see you then. Bye! Hello, everyone. We are back at the second half of this Spindlewheel one-shot, and let's actually just get right back into it. So we resolved the first scene, leaving with kind of an interesting thing happening, this machine glowing to life. And Hector, you had said that you would be down to do the second scene way back before the stream started. Which prompt do you want to do?
All right, I want to do the prompt that's a vision or a sabotage, and I want to do a vision, which is a vista or an investigation. Um,
Incredible.
the way I want to frame this is either my character or Jane. My desire is Jane, but if it makes more sense to when we flip the cards over, I think
Mm-hmm.
Jane should have like a vision. as a direct result,
Ooh.
or perhaps multiple people in the group. But Jane in particular, I think, should have a vision because of her going in the water and seeing what happened with Connor and the machine being activated and all of that stuff. So
Yeah.
that's where my storyteller
Um,
brain is going.
cool. Okay,
All
hang
right.
on. Let me
Flip
put this so people can
these.
see what we're doing. Oh yeah, let me flip them. Da, da, da. Oh, that's an interesting card.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
Oh, okay. So we have the right
Okay.
hand of Solomon Ash. Do you want me to flip it so you don't have to turn your head?
I was turning my head for the second card.
Oh yeah.
Right hand of Solomon Ash, and then what's? Could you flip it the other way just so I can see it really quick and I have to?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on, I can do that.
There's that.
Patron saint of wounds endured, grievance and spurn. Ooh, ooh. Okay, I want this side. I want
Okay.
this side. I want this side, and then vultures. Hold on a second. Let me. I think I can. Uh,
Are you trying to figure out how
okay.
to flip it around?
No. I got it. I got it.
Okay.
Hardy survivalists, bone eaters, landing to scour the savage. The shadows of undertakers, sharp hide, and long suffering. Okay, so I want to do the right hand of Solomon Ash, patron saint of wounds endured, grievances borne, and grudges held, and then and then the cross, the second one, right,
Hmm.
that crosses this is the shadows of undertakers, sharp eyed, and long suffering. I want to kick this off. I want like Jane to be overwhelmed with like memories, not all of them, but like really important, powerful memories about what that machine is, what the treasure is, that guy, like maybe not, like maybe not like what she would get if she got a trinket, but like just like maybe the surge of eldritch energy from the machine is like triggered this powerful vision in Jane and perhaps in the rest of us. Maybe we're seeing whatever visions you feel
Ooh.
Jane saw where we are also seeing, whether it makes sense to us or not, but it makes the most sense to Jane.
Yeah, okay. I think in that case, I'm gonna draw a card to my hand for the first move from Tide Rack to see what these visions are. Because I feel like this is introducing something new.
Okay.
So, okay, I got Toy Bucket. Sandcastle, sandcastle, take me away when you leave with the tide. Or, Toy Bucket pictured me at 4 years old and my best friend. The second one was very sweet, but I think I'm going to go with the first one. Sandcastle, Sandcastle, take me away when you leave with the tide. I think the vision that I see, that other people see as well, is the. I think. How do I want to word this? I think they're. So we know that from world building that the mermaids were using this machine for something other than what like the humans built it for. Like it was built as this
Mhm.
desalinization machine. The mermaids were using it for something else. I think I like this like take me away when you leave with the tide and this idea of like destruction of something. I think I
Mhm.
see what this was before, like this apparatus around it, and I think it's kind of like um there's people who do like sand sculptures, but like these really weird ones by taking like sand that's very infused with water and just drizzling it, and then it makes these like weird
Mhm.
looking like towers of sand that are kind of like flopping over each other. I think that's what the structure of it looks like. Um and I think uh we see the sand around like the structures kind of washing away, and beneath it revealing this coral, these like very intricate coral growths that were kind of the structure of this sand. And I think in and amongst the coral, like some of it now that like as the sand is washing away in this vision, looks like human shapes, like an arm reaching out or like legs kicking like to swim. Like it's in this kind of like it still looks like coral, but they've kind of grown into these very humanish shapes. And I think this vision is interspersed with like I'm seeing the sand kind of pour away and reveal these shapes, and I think Connor is seeing them through the tunnel like as this machine activates. And yeah, I think I'll leave it at that for someone else to to determine something else about what's going on.
I'll play a card into the world for weird shit. I'm going to the tide rack. Yippee!
Nice.
Here we go.
Let's see. Rusted bicycle, an orange and twisted creature emerges from the mud. Please spare us.
Oh,
Or
that's so okay. Hang on. That's wild because that's what I just described.
we love Oracle and Tarot decks.
That's creepy. I am scared.
Need more than 2 hands to pull this free. What a haul.
Amazing. Are you playing that into the scene? Or are you playing that into the Arbiter deck?
I'm playing that into the scene.
Okay, cool. Yeah, what does this mean?
I think that's somebody somewhere else. It's Jasper. During the same split time period, gets a vision and finds like one of the treasures, one of these little like treasure trinkets. Waiting for so long. I am no longer a laughingstock.
So to clarify, Jasper gets a vision of themselves finding a treasure in the future. Is that what you're saying? Cool.
Mm.
Very cool.
Jasper, do you want to play a card and then I'll wrap it up since I kicked off the scene? I love structure.
Yeah, that works. So I'm trying to think after that. I don't know. There's so many options.
There are a lot of options.
I think I'll just leave it up to chance. I'll draw a card from, I guess, the classic deck.
Mm.
Oh.
Okay, so I drew Spinster, an affable hermit, a professor lost in thought, or a recluse obscured by obligation, rootless, inefficient. Oh. I think I'm going to use the top version of Spinster, so an affable hermit, a professor lost in thought. And I think I want to say that this is happening in the scene, but I think like maybe this is like a vision that Reese is having where they're just sort of lost in thought thinking about like the shared vision kind of going on, and maybe something related to like their residency when they were a doctor and like, well, not really studying because we established that he cheated on his exams, but
He tried. He is unmedicated.
So maybe something in the future, like having to think about a proper explanation from the board that's asking questions about his certifications.
Nervous man. A very nervous man.
Cool. Hector, bring us home.
Bring you home. Okay. I am going to play the angel card.
Mm.
Cool.
Um, representing the machine again. Spooky, spooky.
Mm-hmm. Are you playing that into the
Um,
scene threads, or are you playing it towards your desire? Because that's an option as well.
I'm gonna. Uh, I'm going to play it. Yeah, I'm gonna play it towards my desire.
Cool.
Mm.
Um, because I want to know stuff, and the machine like starts glowing and shaking, and with the weird lights, and then illuminates an undersea cave where
Mm.
the treasure is hidden. And immediately Connor turns and looks and just starts swimming towards that underwater cave.
Mm.
Very cool.
But at this
Um,
point, the light like is starting to like appear on the surface of the water. Like the light has become so intense that it's not just
yeah.
like the only thing that is keeping you all from being able to like see the shape of it is the fact that it's at night. Like if this was during the day, the water would be like completely clear. Like in another time, if low tide had been like in a bright day, you would be able to see everything underwater. At this point, you're just like, oh, there's a glowing blob underneath there. Uh, or you know
Very
what?
cool.
Let's get weird. Let's get weird.
Yeah.
Maybe it's so bright that you can see in the water like it's the day. You know what I
Ooh.
mean? It's
Yeah.
like a sunlight is coming from underneath as opposed to sunlight. You know how like sunlight penetrates the water from the top
Mm-hmm.
down? No, this is like penetrating the water from the top up. So like you almost have to like cover your eyes if you look too directly at the machine under the water. Does that sound cool?
That sounds really cool.
Okay. Um,
Cool. All right. Does anyone else have stuff they want to play into the scene threads, or do we want to move on to the next scene?
I think I'm good.
All right. Okay. So everybody gets to take a card. Oh, actually, and
ooh,
then we won't have, we only have 4 played into the scene threads, so the Atropos won't get one this turn, but I think that's fine.
Mm.
I'm
I
going
think
to.
I'm gonna call dibs on this
Uh,
arrested bicycle unless somebody else really has their heart set on it.
I
okay.
I'm calling Solomon Ash.
Nice.
Um, which one do you want, Basil? Vultures or Spinster?
I don't really have a preference, so if you want to grab one, I'll just grab the other.
Okay, I will take. I'll take Spinster. Seems a little interesting.
Cool. And then Basil, do you want to do the set the scene for the next scene, or do you want me to?
Can hold on, just moving my cards in the wrong section because I'm on yours.
Just take over mine.
Let's see, what do we have? Uh, hmm. Oh, I think I'm gonna do a duel, a trial, and specifically a trial, since now that the ocean's all lit up, um, I'm assuming we're trying to get down there to get to the treasure.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have this one be the core. I'll have this one be the cross thing, but I'll flip it so you can read it.
Mm.
Oops, I just took it instead of flipping it over. There we go. Oh, these are cool. Okay.
Oh, Roman candle.
Yeah,
Mm.
do you want to read them out, Basil, or would you like me to?
Yeah, I can. So for the scene thread, we've got Roman candle, glory and glamour, a dazzling display, a garish firework, or the opposite version, which is shock and awe, sound and fury, a mask slipping to reveal fangs.
Ooh.
I'm not sure on which one yet, but I'll go to the second card, which is being crossed by Unbroken Mold, which is a return to tradition, a perfect duplicate to replace instead of repair, or obscure magic made commonplace by industrial might.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh.
I think I like the obscured magic as what's crossing. I just have to figure out
Yeah.
what the
It fits with the
main thing
machine so well.
of this
Mhm.
trial is. I think it's a mask slipping to reveal fangs. So I think what's happening here is now that the ocean is lit up and the desalinization like machine is not really working, but it's on in some shape or form. I think this has drawn attention of like the mermaids at large. So like the mermaids that prefer to stay in the deeper waters, have kind of just noticed that basically like their sky is is glowing. Like the ocean is glowing. There's noises and sound. There's this boat out here. So I think it's drawn their attention. And I think the mermaids aren't happy about this, So I feel it's like more mermaids have appeared. They're not quite circling the boat, but it definitely feels like if anyone else gets in the water, there's probably something is going to happen.
Yeah. Okay, I think I have a card that I'm gonna play to complicate things even more.
Mm.
Um, and I think I'm gonna play Tapestry Loom to
Mm.
our threads because I think not only do the mermaids see what's happening, but there's something I think we've mentioned a little bit, but something we came up with during our session 0 that hasn't really appeared yet is this lighthouse and this lighthouse keeper who is this poet. So I think this light is so bright that the lighthouse keeper kind of like looks up from like scrawling a new poem onto the walls of like the interior of the lighthouse, looks out and like sees this light coming up, puts on his coat and like starts to like make his way over to the scene, like, get in the little rickety boat. And I think the thing that I'm pulling on here is the mainstay, the through line, the common thread, and the complicated plan. Because I think the other thing, I don't know how this would, I don't know visually how this would, how this would happen or be conveyed, but I think that the lighthouse keeper I think Jane's going to recognize the lighthouse keeper because I think that's the person who took everything from her. This poet living in this lighthouse. I think that's who took her trinkets and took her memories. And so I think that's the common thread. So maybe we just see the lighthouse, like we see him like, up in the lighthouse, see the thing, get the coat on, make his way out in the boat, and then we see this little rickety boat coming up to what I assume is Reese's kind of nice boat. And Jane looks over, sees the face of this. I don't think the lighthouse keeper is. I think he's weathered, but I don't think he's that much older than she is. Maybe like mid 40s. And she sees this face and her eyes widen as she recognizes him and is filled with terror, but doesn't know why she recognizes him. So that's what I'm adding to this scene thread. What's next?
Lighthouse keeper somewhere
You're
between.
muted, Hector.
Yeah.
Okay, this is all right. I'm gonna play on the thread spinster, a recluse obscured by obligation, rootless and efficient, to build on the lighthouse keeper being there. The lighthouse
Nice.
keeper is going to arrive and is going to look at is going to call out not to Jane but to Reese
Hmm.
uh, and be like, that item we bargained for. It truly belongs to her. And unless you want all these. And he looks at the water where you see the mermaids kind of encircling around. And unless you want all these folks rising up onto your boat to eat your flesh, I suggest you give the trinket to her.
Amazing.
She's the only one that can get you out now.
And he just hands you like a little shell. It's a cone. It's a cone snail shell.
Cute.
Fun fact: those are very venomous. You don't want to get hit by one of those. They can kill you. Don't pick up random round barrel like type of shells on the beach. Don't do it.
No.
Amazing. Yeah, I think so. You hand me the shell. Who wants to play a card next? Jelly, do you want to play a card for that interaction, or what happens with that?
Um, I think I'm. It's somewhere between either my desire or the actual scene. But it's like doctor, and I'm just like, what do I want to know? Because I'm a little selfish bastard.
Ooh. Are you offering it but like in exchange for something? Like are you like extending the shell but like making like an
Tell me
offer?
everything you know. Tell me everything you know.
Ooh. Interesting. That's cool. I think you should play that to your desire. I think you should play
Got it
that to your
already.
desire. Nice. Um, I don't know what happens next. Basil, do you have something?
I was thinking of playing a card from my hand because I have too many of them anyway. Um, so I was thinking of playing the Heavy Crown card, specifically a Miracle Forged in Blood Spilled. Um, in an attempt to get to play on the scene, in an attempt to get the mermaids to maybe appease them or go away.
Yeah.
So I think what Jasper does is take out they've been wearing this hairpin, which I described before, that is mostly held by bobby pins, but does actually have like an actual like pin part of it. Which if they had more hair, that would be enough to hold it in place, but they don't, and that's why there's all the bobby pins. But I think they take the hairpin out of their hair and they just sort of they stand up on the boat, which is, you should not do that, but they stand up on the boat, still pants still wet, still like soggy from the waist down, and they're holding out the flower pin, and they're like, mermaids, please don't eat our flesh, in exchange perhaps this will tide you over instead. And they stab their hand with the hairpin and just kind of shake it out into the ocean as a peace offering to try to encourage like the mermaids to not eat them.
I feel like we should pull a card from the Arbiter deck to see what happens in response to
Yeah.
that. I feel like
Yeah.
that's the world moving. All right. Oh, this is an interesting one. Okay. Gilded Lily, fashion and flourish, high court grandeur, a gift as sweet as it is absurd. Or Gilded Lily, gutting a clock to wear its gears, stolen relics as children's toys. This is so interesting. I feel like this has to do with like it's a gift.
What if it was a mermaid's name that he didn't know he had? They didn't know they had.
This
Jasper.
this
I mean, probably. Jasper's such
Yeah.
a failure.
So this card was about the mermaid trinkets that the mermaids were like leaving in tourist shops. Remember, Taylor?
Yeah.
Mm.
But like, what if it's one of those? What if it's like one of those specific mermaid source trinkets that the mermaids like put in the shops to like steal tourists' names and stories?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. I have an idea. So Jasper intended for the blood to be the gift, but I like the idea that maybe the bobby pin is like one of those bobby pins that has like a little. Well, you said it had a little thing on it, right? Like it had a little thing on it already. Yeah. So the bobby pin is really the thing. And I think it is like a frenzy. Like the mermaids in the water, it's like, like like the chum in the water for sharks. Like these mermaids in the water are all like fighting and scrapping for this piece of treasure. I feel like that's a good end to that scene. Um for
Then
net
just
like and then
me
we
over
can
here,
see what
like they're
happens
real.
next. So everyone gets to take a card from the scene threads. And then one we'll put back in the Arbiter's deck.
I would like. I'd like the Gilded Lily if no one else wants it, because it's a
I'm taking
freaking
Roman Candle.
awesome card.
Yeah, go for it.
I want this
I
card
take
for
Roman Candle.
me.
Basil, do you know what card you want? Oops. Oh my gosh, I just hang on. I just fucked up the overlay by clicking on something. How do I undo this? Da da da.
I'm still deciding.
Oh no.
How do I not have it be? Okay, there we go.
Okay.
It was briefly just me split into a million pieces because I was trying to click on a notification. But now I think it's back how it's supposed to be. Okay, I'll take Heavy Crown then. I think that's a cool one for Jane.
It took Spinster.
Cool. And then between Unbroken Mold and Tapestry Loom, what have we not seen the last of?
I want to say Unbroken Mold.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Let me flip this over. Let me give these a little makeshift shuffle of a sort. And then this one we'll remove. And then I think I'm gonna then set the scene for I think our last scene. I feel like we're kind of at a big thing and we're also around the time that we are needing to start wrapping up. So I think ooh, I feel like I have to go with a cataclysm or a revelation. Right? Like that's gotta be the last one.
Ooh, here we go.
Well, let's go big or go home, right? So let's flip this way.
For real.
Flip this card. Willow. Stubborn roots anchored into a cliff, reaching wide and winding deep. Or drooping branches, numbing bark, solace for the bereft and grieving. I think I'm gonna go with that one, actually. And then this is crossed by a cursed sword. Holy shit. Brittle steel, rusting armor, old marching orders for a new war. Or a voracious blade, double-edged, glittering eyed with unquenchable thirst. Guys, I hate to say it, but I don't think I don't think this is gonna be a good ending.
Nah.
I think something bad is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Um. Okay.
Yes.
Maybe
So
we should
setting.
have given the mermaid's blood.
Yeah. Maybe we shouldn't have. Um. This is also gonna be so interesting because Connor is like, yeah, this is going to be really interesting. Okay, so here's what I think happens based on everything that's happened so far, setting the scene for this. There is a frenzy. The water beneath is like brightly glowing, like daytime. This old, well, not even old, but um, why can't I think of the word? Lighthouse keeper has come up and kind of been like, hey, you have this thing, you need to give it back to her. Reese is extending this shell, but saying, like, tell me everything you know. Jasper has thrown blood and a trinket into the water. Connor is down below being infused with some kind of eldritch magic. And also, we're looking for this treasure. So I think I'm going to go with Revelation for the prompt. Because I think Jane reaches out and closes her hand around. I think both Jane and Reese together are holding this shell. But as soon as her hands are on it, everything comes back to her. All of the grievances, all of the, these broken promises that even though the mermaids use these trinkets and use these trades to get the best of people, those promises are not upheld by and large. A lot of times, this doesn't actually come to fruition the way that it's supposed to. The promises that are made are broken. And I think even though she takes solace in the fact that she has these memories back, she also now remembers her place as a judge. And just this litany of grudges against, like, from the mermaids to the people of the island comes spilling out of her mouth when the doctor says, tell me everything you know. And it's just tinged with venom. All of these broken promises, all of these things stolen, memories stolen, stories stolen, just come spilling out of her as if she is, like, listing, like, the like when you're at trial, like all of the things that you're being tried for just come spilling out of her. And this is whipping the mermaids into even more of a frenzy. And Connor, I think, sees these coral shapes begin to move, animated, and like the glow from the machine is like going into the coral as well. So that's the scene set. Who wants to play a card into this? Also, I should say, we all have our fate cards, our final fate card, the Atropos. The way those work is you can play those into a scene, and that is your character's ending. So once you play that card, your character their story's done. You can still, be involved in the story. Like, you as a player can still say things and do things, but that's your character's story ended. And you play those into the scene threads the way that you do other cards. So yeah, who wants to go?
Oh, gosh. Like, it's interesting because during the break, we had talked about doing like a follow-up. But at the same time...
Yeah, I feel like we should go for it. I think we should go... I think we should try to wrap it here.
I would like to defer to the rest of the table, but I do have an idea what I want to do, but I want to branch off of what somebody else does, if that's okay.
Jelly very ominously dragged
Everybody
their...
froze on me.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
It's back
Are we
home
still
now.
frozen?
Back home now. It's back home now.
Is everyone still frozen for you,
Oh,
Akani?
we're back. Okay, good.
Okay.
No. Everyone's back. Am I back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. What I was saying is, it's like I would kind of want to see what other people do, because
Yeah, I was just saying
like,
Jelly
do
ominously
we want
brought their Atropos card to the scene threads, but then then he pulled it back, so.
Yeah,
Oh, I have an idea. Mwah.
I just think it would be
Oh.
fun if we all just were just like, let's just play the Atropos scene threads and see how this all goes. And one big ugly like
Yeah.
final confrontation. That's my suggestion. That's what I would like to do. But I know other folks, if they have an idea for different cards they want to do, they don't want it necessarily in their thread. But that's just
Yeah. Somebody has put down Flood.
That was me.
Okay,
Ooh.
cool.
Oh, is
I
that
think
your
two
ending card,
things.
or is that another one of your cards?
That's a different card.
Okay.
I think that there is an upwelling of both the riches from the bottom. And I also think high tide starts coming in.
Ooh. Very cool.
Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna play Gilded Lily
Mm.
to build off of that last move, as like they're not only like maybe like it's flooding, and maybe like it's not just, the riches are coming up, but it's a bunch of stuff that's also been stolen.
Mm-hmm.
Are also coming in, like, and maybe the treasure from the cave is being like extracted from the cave itself by the machine and by the
Ooh.
tide. Like there's this sort of like vacuum, you know, uh that's just harmonizing with the flood, and like the treasure and trinkets and gold and everything is just being pulled out of the sea cave.
Very
Mm.
cool. I love that. Basil, do you have something that you want to add? A card you want to play or pull from somewhere?
I mean, I've been looking at my cards, but I don't
You
know.
can.
I think maybe I'll just pull something out of the Tide deck again, see what we get.
Yeah, go for it.
Mm. Go for it.
Okay. A memento box. So, cruel reward for a good deed or an act of mercy in the face of revelation, or
so scary. It's so
a beautiful
scary that
palace.
these cards are so apropos. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, a beautiful palace lies under the sea. 3 days travel on the back of a turtle. Well, I don't think that fits. I'm sure probably in Jasper's mind that's what they would want to happen. But so we'll go with a cruel reward for a good deed or an act of mercy in the face of revelation. Although I'm trying to think what would be the best thing, where to put this card, in the scene.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I really don't think it relates to Jasper's goal.
Yeah. Yeah. This is wild. Yeah, what happened?
I think I want to say, I think maybe what happens with because all of the treasure is like floating to the surface. And so I think what Jasper does is they after sitting back down, they kind of like lean over they try to like lean over the side of the boat and yelled at Connor, the treasure is rising to the surface. I've changed my mind. You can have the treasure. I'm sure this will work out better. But I feel like probably the cruel reward for trying to do the good deed of, no, I should probably share the treasure more equitably, is I feel like probably because by leaning over and the fact that the mermaids are still kind of in swarm mode, I feel like they just kind of grab Jasper and start trying to like
Oh
drag them into the water because their hand is probably still bleeding. So
Ooh.
Yeah.
At that point, I'm gonna start playing my end card here. Recurring nightmare. Uh, recurring terror. Drains a hellfire. Lightning strikes the steeple. Bad shit. Bad shit. Where it's just like he's. I think there's gonna be one image that sticks with this man for the rest of his fucking life, and that is a hand coming over the side, and then a face, and it grabbing his friend, acquaintance, colleague, the closest thing he can get to. Somebody that he is not pissed off yet. Somebody Reese is not pissed off yet. And I think Reese tries to like get this thing's like hands off of Jasper, and it's just not working. And we'll have nightmares forever now.
Yeah. Akami, go for it.
I think at this point I'm going to also use my Atropos card, and go for Hunter, and he hears Jasper's voice echoing through the water, the treasure all around the group, kind of victory in hand, but then he sees like all his cousins like all frantically around him, and then the eldritch energies have like suffused him, and he's become more feral and monstrous, even though like his thoughts are still like clear and sharp. And in that moment he becomes the wolf in the woods, the monster in the water, and just tears carnage. Like maybe does it like there's like blood in the water as Connor just slams through all of these as he derisively called earlier in the stories, fish girls, fish people, as he is a mammal, right? He's essentially like a wolf of the sea, and just sort of tears through all of them, you know, transforming into like a more humanoid form the closer he gets to the boat, but no less scary, no less fast, as he kind of bursts from like the side of the water, slamming Jasper back onto the boat, trinkets and things scattering around him, his hands and mouth like back in his fully human form, but just covered in blood, his eyes looking feral.
can I add on to this moment? I don't remember if we can only play one card per turn.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can play as many cards as you want.
Okay, because I think this is a good moment to play Jasper's Atropos card, which is bad blood, which is to drink from the same poison cup as your enemy. So I think as a result of this, Shaken freaked the fuck out. So many clammy, somewhat slimy mermaid hands touching them. Once again, Lady Luck just put a boot right into Jasper's face, the poor dear. I think with Connor cresting and landing back in the boat with all the trinkets, I think, like, quite literally, I think Jasper gets, like, mermaid blood in their mouth. What that does, I have no idea, but I think, like, they've accidentally, like, imbibed some mermaid essence, and from there, I don't know, but I think that is what happens to Jasper.
Towards some eldritch transformation into like a mermaid themselves.
Felicity, do you want to draw a fucked up card? Or do you want me to draw a fucked up card?
I think I actually am gonna play my Atropos.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna join in the Atropos Club.
Yay!
um, so actually, if you want to draw a card, do that, and then I'll play my Atropos after that.
Oh god, what did I draw? What did I
You can
draw?
either draw from
Where?
the Arbiter deck, or which is Beneath Windfall, or you can get a new card from one of the other decks.
Cool, I got 10 penny. A sacred tenet ridiculed, a grim bond forged without kindness or warmth.
Oh my god.
A small and clearly forfeited coin, a foolish fondness cheaply gained. Yeah, I think that mermaid's blood is supposed to only be given to those that they trust, and you have not earned that, so it's going to be Eldritch Transformation time.
Something bad is gonna happen. A
Something
grim
very.
bond forged without kindness or warmth. Um, Basil, I know you said you don't know exactly what this is gonna be, but I think to tie into your Atropos, I would like to know what is like a physical something we see about Basil after getting a little bit of mermaid blood in your mouth.
I think one of the first things that everyone sees for Jasper is that the undercut that they had is gone. Like it's just completely filled back in with blonde hair. Like their hair is much longer than it was. It's a bit shaggier as well too. Like has not seen like a comb and a brush in a while. And I think there's a bit of rippling on their skin that you don't notice at first because Jasper, is wearing like a suit and a tie and like a jacket, but you see it like the skin rippling along like their neck and then like kind of going up in like a wave pattern up across their face until you start seeing like the telltale lines and patterns of like scales starting to form. They haven't fully become scales, but you can see like the line, like the pattern starting to form. And Jasper has not really noticed this. Is just like kind of just like, oh, I'm still alive. Yeah, my luck has turned.
You're gonna
uh,
regret saying those words.
Dang.
Oh man.
Um, I think then I will play my Atropos, which is Quiet Knife, a threat unspoken, a debt collected, a trap laid. Um,
Mm.
and I think after like Jane said all these things, like, had this pronouncement of all of the things, and like I think that's been going on while all this other stuff is happening. It's just this litany of things, of like slights and transgressions. um Her attention turns to the lighthouse keeper, who's still like in this little boat that's kind of rocking back and forth. And she turns to him and she says, I loved your poems. They drew me in and they made me fall in love with you. And you used that against me and kept me as a captive to your world because you couldn't bear to let me go. And now I will keep you a captive to my world. And she leaps from the boat and like transforms mid leap into like the tail, and like the mermaid tail, but I think is like an anglerfish, like has this like maw of a mouth and this like glowing energy where she can like lure people to her, and like leaps into the leaps and tackles the lighthouse keeper into the water and pulls them both down to the depths of the sea, never to be seen again.
Mm.
And I just add that I think the final sound should be Connor ferally howling with laughter.
Amazing.
And the laughter just fades the deeper and deeper you go into the water.
Yeah. Um, all of our Atropos cards have been played, which means now we visit or revisit the Atropos of the world, which is windfall, a fortune lost, a secret uncovered, a bullet dodged. And we've already described all of the treasure from the ocean floating back up to the top of the sea, like kind of all around us, propelled up to the surface of the water by this strange machine. Um, what do we think the fallout is for the island after the events of this evening?
Oh,
Bad.
I feel like the potential mermaid war is averted because all of the trinkets and all of these memories, the lighthouse keeper is gone. And I don't know, I feel like Jasper's luck takes a really dark turn. You know,
Yeah.
but it's not my character. But like as like from above, I just feel like it's this kind of scary, almost like cosmic horror ending where you know what a horrible fate. But from another perspective, it's probably kind of a good fate, I guess. You know, uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Basil, do
I
you have
think.
any thoughts on Jasper, Jasper's luck or Jasper going forward?
I do, but I also think with all that treasure floating to the surface, I think also though, I think a consequence of that is some of that does come to shore, but I don't think the town gets any of it. I think it's the tourists because living in Florida, if there's one thing I know, nothing is going to stop a tourist from getting in the water when there's a red tide. Like they love to
Mhm.
get in there. Ignore lifeguards, ignore the government, ignore all of the copious signs. It's fine. What's that? I now have a rash. Now I'm going to complain. Like so they're
What's that?
definitely
Neurotoxin?
yeah, so I definitely think like a consequence of like all that treasure is like the tourists are just in there like it makes the news, for like the Memorial Day weekend. It's like trouble
Yeah.
down by the conflict by the coast or whatever. And it's just like a video of like people like full on throwing hands trying to get like treasure and stuff tussling in the waves and the sand and it makes the town look bad and despite people trying to put a positive spin on it, it's just like, oh no, people just really love the beach. And, what's a little bit of, they just had too much to drink. It's fine. I think though for Jasper, once they figured out like what is going on, like why am I so itchy? Why do I feel better in the water? I feel like it's a little bit like the 13th Year, if anyone remembers that Disney Channel original movie, where minus the lightning abilities, although that would have been sick. I think like eventually Jasper's just like, swimming in the ocean as a mer person isn't that bad. I was like, now I can crash boats for fun instead of accidentally. So
Amazing.
I think Jasper honestly probably becomes like a professional menace, like still hangs out by the coast, but like spends their time like bothering people at the beach because now also they don't have to work at the historical society. So I think they probably just spend their time finding like ocean rocks and like throwing it at people they don't like, being weird and creepy, like whispering things at people who are like beachcombing late at night. Like, come in the water.
What
It's
a
great. No,
manatee.
it's fine. It feels great in here. It's not cold at all. Come on, come closer. And then mostly honestly, I think Jasper just plays pranks. Like, I don't, like, I think, like, still, like, their kind of vibe of, like, nobody, like, really likes having them in the room still extends to, like, the mer people because they're like, we weren't trying to make you a mer person. You're just kind of weird now. And so they're like, well, I could, I guess, be menacing like the rest of the mer people, but they just kind of do their own thing. And honestly, I think that Jasper still hangs out with like the barkeep that works at like the local bar. I think like the barkeep just comes down to like a pier or whatever and just hands them like a beer and they just like they just chill out sometimes.
I'm thinking like a Florida Gator situation where it's just like, yeah, that's the hole where we feed Pete.
That's
Yeah,
the pier
basically
where
it's
we
like that's That's Jasper. You could just
Jasper's
feed them some fried clams and give them like a nice, Miller Lite, and they're perfectly content.
amazing.
What a
Um,
you want to pet a baby manatee, and then there's a baby manatee right next to you.
I think a part of this windfall is that some of these stories that the historic society had been collecting, I think some of these stories were given freely by the person knowing that they wouldn't have them anymore because they were memories that they didn't want, or like
Mm.
embarrassing stories, or like those kinds of things that like keep you up at night, but you're like, why did I do this? And so I think these stories washing onto the shore, um I imagine they're like in these like kind of like glowing like bubbles, and when they hit the shore they pop and like return the stories to like the person who told them. And so I think this brings a lot of humility to the residents of the islands, of these memories being returned to them, some of them unwanted, some of the memories that they intentionally forgot.
I think I give my like nightmare story over to the historical society. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to remember this. It did not happen. No.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other last little tidbits that anyone has?
No, I just sort of like the idea, like as much as Jasper's like the menace by the ocean, Connor is the nightmare by the ocean. I think he
Mm,
just sort of goes like
mm.
full uh barrel eldritch horror, like handsome Irishman, you know, on the shore and undersea terror in the water, which he was not like before.
Yeah. Amazing. That's Spindlewheel. Thank you to Sasha Reneau for giving us a copy of this game to play it on Roll20 and
Mm.
play it on stream. Love the game. Go get it. Every time I've played it has been great. And eerie. The cards are eerie in this game. Like
Yes.
the way that you pull the thing that's like, oh, I was just talking about this, and then there's like a card that goes with it. It's very well written. It's very cool. Before we leave you all, I'll have everyone go around and let everyone in chat know where you can find these fine people, what other projects they have going on, all of that good stuff. And we'll start with Basil. Sorry, I got you just just when you yawned.
Sorry, everybody. Basil is a morning bird. Their sibling is a night owl. And I live in Florida. It's 9 p.m. and the sun has set, which means I'm sleepy now. I will be awake again at 4 a.m. because that's just how I naturally work. But yes, I am Basil. I play Jasper. You can find me primarily on Blue Sky as Kobanya, Kobanya dot Sky dot social. I think it's like BSKY, but if you're on Blue Sky, you know how it works. And you can find me on my website, towerofbasil.wordpress.com. And you can probably also find me on other people's streams and charity things and game jams and whatnot. I'm around in various locations and places, but I had a lot of fun. And, make your own fail son. Live your dreams. Make the most sad, pathetic whoopee man you can, and then make them achieve none of their goals. Feels good.
Make a pathetic little wet mop.
Yeah. Jelly, what else do you have going on? Where can people find you?
Okay. Hi, I'm Jellyfish Lines. You can find me everywhere online at Jellyfish Lines. On Blue Sky, just jellyfishlines.itch.io. You can find me on itch.io and buy all my games from there as well. Same handle. And I started to branch into layout work for TTRPGs. So hit me up if you want to pay me money to pay for rent and food. And you get, in return, very nice looking book. Very nice looking game. And I, run a couple podcasts. Co-host another. It's a nightmare. There's too many to list. Please, God, help me. I do too much. Okami.
Hello, hello. I am Okami all over the internet. Many people know me as Hector by my legal name. My pronouns are he, they. You can find me at khiokami.itch.io on Blue Sky. But it's also my itch page where I have a couple of indie games, the latest of which I just released this year, which is the second edition of Fair Season, my Belonging Outside Belonging game about middle-aged reenactors dealing with weird paranormal stuff. Definitely give that a look. I have a couple other games on there as well, but Fair Season Second Edition is my baby. I worked really hard in it, and I want people to play it. Um, I am an actual play performer and currently the steward of the House of Dreams. Uh, Actual play creative collective. We You can find us on YouTube at House of Dreams AP, or you can find us on Twitch at House of Dreams _ house spelled the German way / ballroom culture way HAUS. uh there we have a couple of series. Right now I have an ongoing series called A Season's Oath, a Wanderhome Journey. I Right now we will be coming back for chapter 4 next Sunday at 12:30 p.m. PST, 3:30 p.m. EST, and it is a wonderful fun journey using J Dragon's Wanderhome and expanded magic rules and guest playbooks and natures. June is going to be a great month because not only are we doing the 4th season, we're also teaming up with Pocket Dragon Pub, where we're going to be raising money for Rainbow Railroad. So they'll be doing one shots over on Pocket Dragon Pub that are Pride themed. We'll be doing our 4th chapter of A Season's Oath, and we're going to be working in tandem. We're both going to be raising funds for Rainbow Railroad together. I'm going to be doing a couple of interludes. That's how I met. Well, rather, it's how I got to play and meet the amazing Taylor Felicity. Was Taylor played in one of my A Season's Oath interludes, which I have been doing on other channels to help raise money and to expand the universe of A Season's Oath. So if you have an actual play channel, especially if you are run by BIPOC or LGBTQ people and you want to raise funds and help those people, please, 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 please let me stream an interlude of A Season's Oath on your channel. I promise you will not regret it. You will have lots of fun playing adorable animal people dealing with trauma and healing and embracing mindfulness and the power of radical compassion and kindness. Thank you so much, Taylor, for letting me be on your channel and play this fantastic game. Find me on Blue Sky.
Yeah, thanks everybody for watching, and thanks all my guests today for participating. Oh, the sign is so good. As for me, you can find me online everywhere at Roll for Felicity, mostly on Blue Sky. I'm also on Instagram, Tumblr, TikTok. I post a lot on TikTok. And then, I also need to really quick shout out Legitimine. Thank you for the follow. It's hard to do those follow call outs when we're mid scenes, but I like to do them at the beginning and end of stream. As for stuff I have coming up on this channel, this coming Thursday, it's going to be episode 3 of Warrior Chats, which is the podcast show that me and 2 friends are reading the Warrior Cats books for the first time and seeing how it changes us. I've got this one here. I actually need to finish reading it. So we're reading the 2nd book. It's the 3rd episode. That's 8 p.m. Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then next month, keep an eye out. I have some cool stuff coming up. Another episode of Over the Table, which is my Reddit Stories reading podcast, talk show, where I talk about TTRPG stories from Reddit and have guests on to talk about them. And then there'll be another episode of Incredibly Indie next month as well. And then the last thing I'll say is next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, the finale of Carmageddon, which is the Toon campaign that Becca has been running. I play a motorized scooter named Adley Moto, who does cool stunts and tricks and is also a lesbian who is looking for her human friend who is probably dead. That's everything. I think that's everything I have to say. So I'm gonna let everyone go. Everyone in chat, have a great rest of your night, and then everyone here on the stream, do you want to say goodbye to the chat and goodbye to the YouTube VOD?
All right.
Goodbye.